Hey, it's Derek from WatchMeCode.net. So here's the scene. Imagine this. It's 1980 something, 86, 87, I don't remember when exactly. I'm, 8, 9 years old, something in that range, so yeah, I'm old. Get over it. It's down in my basement, and there's a Nintendo, the original old school, what's now old school, what back then was cutting edge 8-bit Nintendo Entertainment System. And I've got this great game, this gold-colored cartridge that has a battery inside of it, the craziest thing that I'd ever heard of, because this game will save your game as you make progress through it. Of course, it's Zelda, the classic introduction to role-playing games from the 1980s, a game that I immediately fell in love with, and to this day I still have a very large part of that game and map memorized. It's just one of my all-time favorite games ever. And at the very beginning of this game, there's this scene, this mountain scene, where you're standing in, I guess what's a meadow next to these mountains in this empty space. And there's this little black space up at the top of the screen inside of what is rocks. And so you walk into this little black space, and it turns out it's an entrance to a cave. And in this cave, there's an old man in the mountain who says something that will change the lives of an entire generation of kids, myself included. And it's something that I reflect on even to this day as I look at my current career path and my current work. And if you know the game Zelda, of course you know what that is, but I'll tell you in a moment after a short story. So I'm an entrepreneur. I don't know if you know this about me, but I've been an entrepreneur for a very long time. Yeah, I've had corporate jobs, but I've always had that entrepreneurial spirit. I got it from my dad, who has owned his own businesses and done his own thing for longer than I've been alive. And yeah, we go back and forth. We have corporate businesses, and then we go self-employed, and then corporate business and self-employed, and you take opportunities as you get them. But at this point in my career, right now, I'm self-employed. I have one client who I do work for 15, maybe 20 hours a week. But otherwise, I'm on my own. I teach other developers how to be better developers through WatchMeCode.net screencasts and right here on YouTube, of course. And there's a certain aspect of this life that I find to be kind of draining and kind of difficult to deal with. And that really is the lack of consistent team that I've always had in my corporate jobs in the past. Now, early in my career, I lived in the middle of nowhere, Kansas, and I was pretty much self-taught. There wasn't anyone else around that could really teach me any of this stuff. So I dug in, went to my library at the local colleges, found books, anything and everything I could get my hands on, I read, and I did my best to learn, and I moved forward. But as I moved in my career, in my full-time jobs after college, I started seeing more and more benefit of having a real team. And I started seeing the growth in myself skyrocketing far faster than what I had ever been able to do on my own in the past. And that's become incredibly important to me. And there are several stories in my career that I really enjoy telling, including one that happened just a couple of years ago, which I've talked about a number of times before. It's a scene where I'm sitting in a coffee shop with a friend of mine, where pretty much every Wednesday he and I go to this coffee shop and work there in the mornings. Sometimes we have more people, sometimes it's just us, sometimes it's just me, or it's just him. Just depends on the individual week. It's a very informal, come and go whenever you want to kind of scenario for co-working. But on this one particular Wednesday, I'm sitting there basically trying not to pull my hair out. I'm just incredibly frustrated. And my friend Corey, sitting across the table, sees the frustration on my face and asks, hey, what's wrong? What's going on? And so I dive into a 30-second explanation of the situation. I've got this tree of objects, and I need to traverse from top to bottom and remember where I am in the tree so that I can go back up to the top and mark things as unresolvable and do all these. And I get about 30 seconds to a minute into the conversation, and he asks a single question. And from that one question, wait, actually, oh, you're right, I do have, oh, okay. And then a few minutes later, I have 5 lines of code and the problem is solved. And I spent hours digging into this problem, trying to solve this situation that I was in. And all it really came down to was that one question. And there are so many other times in my career, especially right now as an entrepreneur, where the same story plays out over and over again. I've said a countless number of times on a countless number of podcasts and with friends and other people in real life that without my entrepreneurial mastermind group, there is no chance that I would continue the current path that I'm on. I would have given up years ago. I would have gone back to the corporate life and I would have said, forget it, I'm done. This is too hard for me. So getting back to the original opener for this video, that game of Zelda, that man in the mountain, the old man in the mountain, that thing that he said, it's dangerous to go alone. Take this. And he hands Link, the character in the game, a sword. Now, in that case, a sword made sense because it was an adventure, role-playing game. You had to go kill monsters and, fight bad guys and save the world and all that kind of stuff. But that advice holds so very true to this day. It is dangerous to go alone. Take this. Now, the thing that you are taking is something that we all need. And it's something that I have found in my mastermind group and in my friend Corey and in everybody else that comes to the Wednesday coffee shop co-working. And that is support. It is absolutely, without a doubt, 100% critical that you have the necessary support that you need in your life. In your professional career as a software developer, in every aspect of your life. And chances are you're going to need more than one type of support as well. But for me in my career as a software developer, having that Wednesday group that I can go to and sit there, they don't even do JavaScript most of the time, but they are software developers, they are marketers, they are technology professionals, and they understand logic and reasoning and thinking, and just being able to talk to someone who can think critically and ask the right questions is incredibly important to me. Having my Friday mastermind group with the Entree programmers, it's incredibly important for me to be able to come to them with my frustrations, my fears, my anxiety, my doubt, everything that I know I'm doing wrong as an entrepreneur, and have them analyze the situation from an interested but only observing third-party perspective. They are not directly involved in my day-to-day work as an entrepreneur, but they are directly involved in my life. They deeply care about my success as I deeply care about their success. And so we provide that level of support to each other. We give each other the motivation, the courage, the ability to say no when we need it, and the ability to say yes when we should be saying yes. There are so many different levels of support that I have in my life that I can't live without. And there are levels of support that every developer needs in their life that they can't live without. And for the developers that are on their own, whether or not they work in a large company or have people on their team, developers that are on their own that need an extra level of support. Maybe they're the only JavaScript developer, or the people that are doing JavaScript on their team don't have the level of experience to be able to provide support for them. That's where Watch Me Code comes into place, quite honestly. That's what I am trying to build with Watch Me Code. That's why I have the videos I produce. That's why I do these videos on YouTube, all the screencasts that I have available. That's why I built the Watch Me Code Slack team recently, so that we can get that level of support where you have a place to go, you have people to talk to, you can get those questions answered, and have somebody there who's gone through that pain before and has solved that problem, and may be able to give you an idea of how you can get yourself out of that situation. So wherever your level of support needs are, whatever situation you find yourself in, do everything in your power to make sure you are getting that support that you need. And if you're looking for support in JavaScript, if you need a community of other JavaScript developers and you want feedback, you want new ideas, you want the ability to just scream in frustration and have somebody listen, be sure to check out watchmecode.net, where every paid membership will get you access to the Watch Me Code community Slack, and you will be able to find that support. Thanks for listening, happy JavaScripting, and be sure to subscribe to the channel for more thoughts on code from watchmecode.net.